Calling this meeting to order.
Yeah.
I don't need any talking back. Meetings. Thank you. All right, we have 4 board members present and one that's running a little bit late. Just wanted to say that we have Dan Livingston representing the City of Binghamton. We got Brian Reynolds and we've got, Clark. Ben rather. I want to call him a different name because I know another Reynolds and I'm sorry for that. Okay, and Clark also representing the Village of Johnson City. Legal counsel is here. Charlie, business manager. Kathy's here. Michelle, our right-hand secretary, our stenographer is here, and let's see, am I missing anybody? Oh, we got our
Project manager.
Project manager, I'm sorry, okay, and then also we got a little Chuck here, okay, thank you. All right, now, make sure your cell phones are either on vibrate or off. Sign-in sheet, I hope everybody signed here. And do I have, we got a privilege of the floor with Jason Green coming in at 4 o'clock.
So we can get through the agenda by then, right?
We'll do the official officer's report from Little Chuck.
Do I stand up or do I roll out?
Yes, if you could, please just stand up around this area or
Yeah,
something.
So you guys can hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, also, we got a video conference,
You got
here,
a
so you need to be in the frame.
Can you see me, Steve?
I can.
Okay. Everybody's got a handout in your packet. This is the end of the year, so this end of the year, all the financials are gonna change as we do accruals and pay bills from now through whenever we do a cutoff for the fiscal year. Nothing
That's
significant.
February 22nd, but
20, yeah, and we might get some stragglers, but it's usually the end of February. All the bills are paid. Johnson City's been paid for 4th quarter, so now we're just gonna be getting working on the estimated bills, getting them out soon, right?
Yeah.
Hoping.
Friday.
All right. Nothing to report on the project. Like I said, it's gonna be moving forward, and the expenses and revenues will be going up because of the accruals. Only one line item's over budget, but I saw it's on the agenda, so we won't worry about that in the operating fund. Like I said, there's been a lot of accruals coming around now and then. As vendors haven't sent in invoices, as we pay them, we accrue it back to last year, and the revenue as well. And the final billing is gonna be a big number as well. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna be working on that or not, or the new assistant comptroller, because I have a new job title right now, I'm an acting city treasurer. So I've been way out of this for a while. So I'm trying to look through this real quick and try to get it, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. But like I said, the expenses and revenues are going to be adjusted as we move forward. And I don't know if I sent this out to everybody, I put unaudited at the end of the title on the reports, because since these are year end, we want to make sure that if these are floating around, that they're not official reports until they've been audited. All right. I only got that for the period 12 reports when we send them out. The JF fund has got some over budget lines, but Matt is working on those as well. So,
you might tell them who Matt is.
oh, I'm sorry, Brian Lank is our new assistant comptroller. He started a couple of months ago.
He hasn't been out doing anything.
And he probably will not. He's working on other big projects for Chuck, so it'll probably just still be me and him, him and I for a while.
So he's working on the JF fund? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
he's doing the budget amendments that you can do automatically, but we haven't done those yet. That's why you have the JF fund's got some over budget lines, but they're not really over budget. So,
I have a question.
yes,
Who audits the Hinkley Allen bills?
and that is the,
Attorney for the court case.
The city's corporation council signs off on those goals,
Yes.
and then they come down to the comptroller's office for processing payment. I never see them until they come to the sewage plant.
Right.
So he audits them, gets, I mean, I'm just wondering,
He's the approver.
He is the approver. What he does, I don't know, but I can find out.
I'm just curious. You know, we haven't had any contact with them in, months, and so I'm just curious.
With
as to-
Hinkley Allen?
Yeah.
So,
They're doing
but there's no
depositions.
deposition, you probably will.
They're doing depositions of the defendants, so we're not involved in that.
You probably wouldn't, we wouldn't see
Okay,
the
but they
invoice.
put how many hours, and
Yes, they do.
I just find it,
You want to see those?
no, I just would like someone keeping an eye on it.
Okay, we're keeping an
We
eye
just
on it.
pay them.
Yeah, we don't, if we see anything exorbitant, we'll let you know. All right.
Do you want me to cover the lead agency project?
Yes, would you, yeah, 'cause I got it.
That's what I thought.
All right,
Sorry.
At the back of your folder, this month you have a copy of the lead agency project reports as of December 31st, 2018, the finances. You have the chart report, which is this report, and you have the graph report, which is this report. You should have that in your folder too, if you got a folder in the back. If you just have the agenda. Sorry. I got an extra one though, you can have mine. You gotta come over and get it though, sorry. I'm kind of way out. So,
I'll
through,
take it over to them.
okay, thanks. Through the end of December, the total base contracts and net approved change orders is $267,760,836.45. Remember, that's a cumulative number that goes back to July 2011 for the engineering and January 2012 for the construction and demolition. That brings us to 80.5% of the total, you know, at this point, the payments that have been approved were $215,599,708.83. That's 80.5% of the approved contracts and net change orders. Again, that's what's been paid out. It's important from management, as I said in my message when I sent these out, the net change orders for the construction demolition are 2.3% of the total contract. You know, 2.36% of the base contract amounts, which, you know, is within what I think the engineers consider well managed. You know, my understanding is 3% or less is pretty good. The change orders, the largest one was on contract 2013-1, which was the advanced demolition, and so that's not part of the current, you know, project series that was with, you know, that's with Jacobs, but you know, it's all financed together. The average change order is $56,342.78. Some change orders, especially with PC Construction, are quote-unquote packages, that I call them packages, where there's various change order requests that are bundled into the one change order. So you can have as many as 16 sub-items in a change order. You know, that's why the average may seem high. Now, the supplemental agreements with the engineering, they really don't work with the same kind of analysis, because in many cases they're cumulative or phased. Like on the engineering, they had an initial agreement for certain services, and then based on what their findings were or their recommendations were, then there were decisions to go forward with design of a certain engineering project or whatever, and then that was added on. So, you know, it's not like they came in like a contractor does and they give you a price for the whole project that's bid out. So I'm not going to go into numbers on that. You can see the various contracts for the engineering on page 2. You can see the various contracts for the construction and demolition on page 3 and 4. If you have any questions, my contact information is at the bottom of page 2 and the bottom, or actually more towards the middle of page 4. Don't hesitate to drop me a line or give me a call if you have any questions. The graph report, this is an attempt to present the numbers that in the chart may appear to be dry numbers to some people in a kind of graphical format. The pie charts on the first page, again, are scaled. I'm going through this in a little more detail than I normally do with the people here. They're scaled in terms of the volume, and the one at the top left is kind of the overall project. It includes both the professional services graph, which is at the bottom. It's smaller because it's a smaller dollar volume, and the construction demolition, which is at the top right. And the fill space, because the circles don't fill up the whole page. We get some current photographs through the project manager's office. We get them from Jacobs, and we use a rotating panel of photos every month. The numbers and the color key with each graph kind of gives you the information for each slice. So hopefully that's user friendly. On the back of the first page, page 2, are bar graphs for each of the engineering contracts. We have the active contracts on top of the pink line that runs across the page, and the closeout contracts below it. And I have a color system where the darker green is paid on the contract, the lighter green is paid on a supplemental agreement. The lighter shade is work that's still to be done. And then in some cases, there's been a decision and agreement to reduce the scope of the contract. And you see a red checkered type pattern, like for example, on the 5th graph down in the engineering, where there's actually been a reduction in the contract. So that's how these graphs work. The scale for the construction manager is unique in order to fit it all on the page without having to have a foldout. You know, that's the technique we're doing there. Then you get to the construction and demolition contracts. The active ones are on page 3. The closed out ones are on page 4. The same design as far as the bar graph for each contract, except that with construction and demolition, as most everybody knows, there's retainage. That's the pink part of the bar graph. That's money that the owners withheld 5% for the contractor's faithful performance, which gets closed out at the end. But that's money that the owners don't have at hand. They have EFC's promise to allow them to borrow that money when they certify that it's time and all the conditions have been fulfilled that the contractor deserves to have all or part of their retained pay. Generally at the end of the contract. Again, the darker green is money that's been approved to pay on base contract. The lighter green is money that's been approved to pay on a change order, pink is retainage. The lighter blue is work to be done. Again, the red check color, which you see like on the third one, contract 6, that's where there was a contract reduction. And that contract reduction in that case had to do with a change of materials from what was in the original contracts. And the electrical contractor told the city, look, we can do this just as well, but for less money if we use this type of wiring instead of what was spec'd in the engineering. Or I think in that case maybe it was conduit. It's a different conduit. And the city said, okay, we'll save it. So that's why there was a reduction in that case. So that's an overview of how these graphs work. I send these, for the benefit of the village board members and city council members. I send these to the village clerk and deputy treasurer and the city clerk and the deputy city clerk, when they're released at the end of the month or start of the following month. And so you should get these, you know, automatically once you're set up on your respective city and village email system. So that's a run through on the report. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you very much. Next.
That's it?
That's it on those.
Okay. Now if I can find the agenda. Okay. I know we're going to number 6 because it's not 4 o'clock yet. Okay. Charlie?
I would very much like to ask the board to accept the bid that was submitted on September 6, 2018 for the WQIP work. We did receive waivers for the MBE for both of the 2 grants the DEC has provided. We are confident we're going to achieve the WBE levels as required. So I have been in contact with GHD and with the excavation firm, and we believe we are at the point where we can award the contract. Once we have that, he will have to go out for bonding and insurance, and once we have that and review it, then we will be able to allow him to proceed. So at this point, I would ask the
Do you have the
board,
budget line again?
it is 3 different lines.
Right. That's why I asked.
It's JH
8130
554-063.
Right, how much do you want out of that?
All of it.
Okay.
The J's.
There are 2 other lines saying. It's JH 8130-555-555 J0001. And also, same intro, J0002 represents the 2 grant pieces. I believe we will completely consume both of those, and the balance has to come out of the regular capital line. How that will actually be applied, I have not worked out yet with the controller. We have 3 sources of funds.
Could you go over the alternates with me and tell me which each alternate is? I don't remember this number in my head. It was under 1 million before, so I'm trying to do the
We
adjustment.
had the first, Schedule A, was a total upside bid for $292,425. Schedule B, which is the unit price work, $684,708.
Understand him, I just asked for the
$2,000.
alternates.
Okay, all right. The total for the first items is $979,133. We then have E1, which is the effluent control channel, $45,580, $45,580. E2, which is bank protection riprap, is $18,654.
That's for the Susquehanna River.
Yes.
Yeah.
E3, heavy stone fill between sheet pile and wall, is $10,533. And E4 was reestablishing the west bank of Fuller Hollow Creek for $2,100. For a total of $1,056,000.
The allowance was for what?
Signs.
Yes, I know.
Yep.
And that was the discussion that we were talking about, the warning signs, and I asked.
No, I think these are job signs.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to find out where the warning signs in the board considered what was gonna happen in case the river rises up above the channel locks made out of the wood system, so that in case there's an emergency out there, why, there's a warning to boaters, especially for rescue people going out. This was a serious.
But you talked to John about that.
I did.
And that it is included in the contractor's work.
Well, he said to me it was, well, I don't know, and that stuff, and then he said he was gonna address it on the final thing. And I don't see any difference in the numbers here, because I'm sure that's gonna cost some money to put in a type of a warning sign that people can see out there during a flood condition in case they had to go out there in a boat to rescue. I don't want them to be running into the wall, so that's the only thing I'm gonna say, that I've got a hard time until I know that that is in this price. Because that's what the board voted on.
Alternate, Schedule C1 under allowances, $2,000 was for project signage.
Right. And that's what he said, construction entrance signs and that stuff. Had nothing to do with the warning signs. And I did ask Legorga that, and he sort of confirmed that.
But he did say that there would be signs put out there.
Okay, all right, so the contractor's doing that for nothing?
Well, I can tell you that there's going to be an additional request for a change order. I think that's gonna have to be paid by the city.
For what?
The stormwater protection is being transferred from the flood wall to the WQIP. Because WQIP is going to be using the access road.
Right.
And so there's the stormwater protection has to occur on that,
Absolutely.
so.
Yeah, I mean, there's still money in Streeter's contract.
Yes,
And I think that money comes from the savings from the streets.
Yes.
Right, right. No, it's a watch.
A deduction, yeah. For not them removing. I understand.
But that, I mean, until they get the specifics of, you know, what the scope and duration is gonna be and how much needs to be transferred, you know, we're not gonna be able to address that now. It's like you say, it's out there.
right, as is the signs.
Yeah.
That's just my point on
Yeah,
that.
no, that's fine.
I don't think that that's a reason to hold up approving.
Right. I make a motion to approve the notice of award in the board folders to award the water quality improvement contract project to JB, and it's apostrophe S, JB's Excavation Services Incorporated, and it's Inc. In the amount of $1,056,000. That the notice of award is missing a zero. Okay. So, you know, again, whoever typed this up, which is probably DHD, you know, screwed up. To apportion that cost among and encumber the following budget lines in the board's capital budget. JH 8130.554063, $483,165. JH 8130.555.555.J001, which is a grant, round 11, $444,527. JH 8130.555.555.J002, which is a water quality improvement grant, round 13, $128,308. And that, you know, and then we authorize the acting chairman pro tem to sign the necessary contract documents on behalf of the board.
Second.
Any discussion? Steve, are you able to hear us okay?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
He's showing rapt attention there.
So something was supposed to have been given back to me to say what type of a warning system was gonna be there for rescue people going out there, and to this day, I have nothing. And the board did consider it at the time that it is a good warning thing. I have no idea, where is the money gonna come from? Is this gonna cost another $10,000–15,000 for this?
There's money available in JH 8130.554063 for the change orders. We have an allowance for that in our budget.
And I understand that. But what I'm saying is that when the board directs something and it was supposed to come back and it was supposed to be in here, we don't know what the price is. I don't wanna hold it up and I'm gonna vote for it, but I just wanna put notification on that, I think when we ask for something that we should
I
be
mean, if
getting.
we've got Legorga's phone number, we could put this on hold and somebody
He's
can
on
make.
vacation.
I wouldn't hold it, tomorrow is when the bond expires.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good reason for not holding it, because the bond does expire tomorrow.
George, I agree with you. But I don't think it's worth holding it up at this point.
No,
We
we're
need
not
something
gonna
out
do
there,
that
we're gonna
because,
have to have something out there, it's just, we're gonna have to find someplace else to get it.
If it's not in there, you can do a change.
right, okay. Any other discussion?
I mean, you certainly can tell GHD that we don't want any additional engineering costs for this because we understood they took care of it.
Yes,
You know, and
Yes.
you know, if JB's said they need more money for it, we'll have to deal with that when that happens. We don't know if it's gonna happen.
okay. Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried 5-0-1.
Each year at this time, I have asked the board to make a policy where we have sole source for 2 vendors, it's Schwing Bioset. And for spare parts related to material handling, the equipment we have, I have a letter from them saying that they are the exclusive distributorship within this area. And the same for Vogelsang, we use Keister Associates with parts for Vogelsang equipment, and they again have confirmed that for this upcoming year, they are the sole source. For Keister Associates, our Canastota is the sole source. So I would like the board to extend those 2.
Did you email those to us?
They're in the folder.
No, I didn't make copies, I didn't have them.
Or maybe copies could be made now, which is fine, but. You know, if you email a PDF, I'm happy with
Yeah,
that.
I can forward it, yeah, maybe.
What's the date on Schwing's?
Schwing is January 1st, 2019,
That's the date of the letter?
Yep.
Okay, and Kester?
January 3rd, 2019. And that's actually from Vogelsang. Stating that Chester is.
Right. I'd make a motion that the board declares sole source for conveyor equipment in order to meet compatibility with existing conveyor equipment at the plant and have compatibility to Schwing, SCHWING-Bioset, for a period of 12 months from January 1, 2019 in accordance with the Schwing Bioset Company's letter.
Second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried 5-0-1.
Then I make a motion that the board make a sole source declaration for Vogelsang parts and equipment such as cutters and grinder blades through the distributor Kester Associates based on the January 3rd, 2019 certification letter from Vogelsang.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried 5-0-1.
We have a renewal proposal from UHS for workers' comp PPO, which is unchanged from the prior year, $5,400. And I would encourage the board to accept that. I think that one you should have seen.
Right, no, that's important.
Sorry, Charlie.
I'll make a motion that we approve and direct the Chairman Pro Tem to sign the UHS Workers' Compensation PPO pricing agreement for the calendar year 2019 as presented in the board folder for an annual fee of $5,400 paid in 2 installments and to encumber the same against the workers' compensation budget line, putting the number in the minutes for the budget.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried 5-0.
And as Robinson mentioned, we have one budget line that is over. The gas for heating is over for $267. Rather than go through a budget transfer and a request for legislation, I would encourage the board to approach the controller, who has the authority to move $2,500 on lines that have not had prior adjustments. So for $267.19 out of line JH13054201. The line below it for electricity, we have certainly enough to supply that, 54202. And I would encourage the board to request that we just do a transfer.
Is that amount that you just gave us inclusive of any pending bills?
That is through the last billing, yes.
But I mean, isn't there one more billing that's gonna be,
There's some for weeks, I don't believe they do a transfer within that for, it's through the 19th. I don't believe they do something for the 11 days difference.
no, the bill is in here for through the 19th of
Yes.
December, right? Okay. I know in prior years, maybe it was while you were comptroller, they would actually split the next bill between the years.
Yeah, but I don't think they've been doing that down
So I make a motion that the board,
there.
all right, I make a motion that the board requests that the board fiscal officer, city comptroller, transfer from the budget line electricity, J8130.54202, $267.19 into the budget line J8130.54201, gas dash heat, in order to true up the budget. And also, as needed for any additional billing covering the 2018 calendar year on the gas heat line, if any.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried 5-0.
And Charlie, you'll be getting a hold of Chuck on that, right? Okay.
And just pending informational, we have a ferric chloride bid. The legal hasn't gone out yet, but the opening should be February 7th next month. So that's the only thing I have that was even illegal.
Did you give me that yet? You haven't given me.
I haven't yet. I think that's all. Oh, there is one more thing for the insurance. In the past, we have waived the terrorism coverage because that's reliant on the federal government declaring any act an act of terrorism. So in the past, we just declined coverage. It would be an additional $3,654 to pick this up. And the only time we could invoke it is if it's a federal terrorism act. So in the past, we just declined it.
At the November 2nd meeting, didn't we do that?
I
thought we
don't
did that.
recall. I know it was mentioned, but I don't know.
I thought there was a discussion on it.
I thought we voted on it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the last one. Pro Tem Chairman decided tonight, so I can mail it back to him.
Is that it now?
Yeah.
Kathy, I guess you're up next.
Okay. So for the month of December, under significant issues, we still have outstanding a resolution to the revised consent order schedule. That actually came up at the DEC meeting today. They wanted to know what the status was, and I said that I thought the board would be discussing it and resolving that today. Under compliance, our average daily flow for the month of December was 21.48 million gallons per day. We had an average of almost 51% removal for CBOD and 72% removal of suspended solids. 89% removal for soluble solids, and almost, well, 7.6% nitrogen removal. Just as a note on this DEC revised order, right now when we're filling out the monthly reports to the DEC that we do, our discharge monitoring reports, it's including the anticipated limits that were in the old order, not the new order. So that sends flags up to the EPA, just so you know. Under operations summary and construction and related issues, we, as I mentioned previously, had the installation of the gate at the flood wall controlling stormwater and wastewater in the 54-inch line from Binghamton. That's installed. Testing protocol has yet to be determined. We're meeting with the City of Binghamton Sewer Department tomorrow at noon to discuss the best way to accomplish that. The issue being that when we close the gate, we need to close the gate to see if it seats and to see if it actually seals. But when we close the gate, that could create a potential backup into the Binghamton sewer line. And we also have an emergency overflow on the outside of the flood wall, which of course we don't want to trigger because that would be a potential violation of our permit. So it takes a lot of timing and coordination. We also need to determine the length of time that it takes to close that gate because it's hand operated, and there are many revolutions that need, for turning it. So we're just trying to determine the protocol for when there is a flood, what the time would be to take to close that gate and make sure that it actually seats and seals. We don't want to find out when the flood's happening. So.
Understand, how long do you have to run the test for?
We're not running it very long at all because it'll back the sewer line up.
I'm just saying,
overflow.
half hour, 15 minutes?
I think we're gonna eyeball it. We're just gonna be there watching it back up, right?
We're thinking it takes 15 minutes to close and 15 minutes to open.
Okay,
We're hoping we can buy that amount of time.
half hour is what you're looking at.
Are you considering using a die on the upstream
Yes.
side of the
Yeah.
gate, just
Yeah.
so you can see?
Yeah.
That makes
Do you have to do that on an annual basis just to make sure the gate closes? I mean, it could be 10, 15 years. before-
Yeah, well, we'll be exercising the gate, whether or not we close it all the way. I don't know if we will or not. I think we're just gonna have to see how this first one goes and plan from there. But it will definitely be exercised.
Ron, can you tell me what type of a crank it's got on it?
Just a hand.
It's a wheel.
It's
Just a wheel.
Is it a wheel?
Yeah.
Or is it a,
Is it a wheel?
Could be a wheel, I would think.
Yeah, it's a wheel.
That
Okay.
big a
Yeah,
gate
probably.
would probably be a wheel.
okay. Just wanted to make sure. I just didn't notice. I was just wanting for you to get your time down, whether you could turn around and send somebody out there and take it down 2 inches, and then you can find out what it is without interrupting anything, and then you'll say, okay, so I got 54 inches to cover here, or whatever, and that way you can get your time. set
Well,
up.
we also have to test it anyway, so at least this first time, we have to close it all the way.
It's about 1/8 of an inch per turn, so you're looking at 450 to 500 turns.
Better get 2 mules. But there was discussion on it before about getting it electronically.
Yeah, that
Is
wasn't in the,
that drop dead?
well, that wasn't in the plans, and, that'd be another change or significant change
Yeah,
order.
Yeah, I
Plus, you'd have
understand.
to have a backup power source since it's an emergency gate.
Well, I understand that, but you could hook it up to the generator, correct?
Okay,
With
so
the-
Howard,
Yeah,
Howard,
right.
Howard believes that it was discussed and it would void the warranty on the gate because it would have the revolutions turned too quickly.
The only thing that I suggest is that once a month or so that somebody checks the gate.
Yep,
So there's no.
There'll be a maintenance schedule.
there's a CMM, yeah, we have it in our
Okay,
CMM.
I just wanna make sure. that-
They can partially lower it anyhow, during that period.
Yeah, lube it or whatever it takes to keep it,
Halfway to keep it moving.
right.
Okay, so in anticipation of all of the various processes coming on in the plant, our training has ramped up considerably. We're having staff training every week, several days per week. In addition to that, our safety training grant through the Department of Labor also started. When we wrote the grant last year, we actually thought that we'd have a fair amount of the safe cover of the construction training behind us. We thought that we were going to be online. So right now they're just kind of all coming together at once, but we're getting through that, and we had to reschedule some of the safety training, but we're working through that. We already approved the water quality improvement contract. That's on the next page. I'm not sure who's aware of it, but we had a employees interrupt theft on Sunday. That was kind of exciting. Someone was on the plant property at night. It was in the dark, and they were attempting to steal the big thick electrical cables. Copper, yeah, from copper. And one of our employees just kind of almost ran into the guy and startled him, and he dropped the stuff and took off to the west towards the nice side. The police were called. They brought in canines. Didn't find the guy. What was that noise?
That's
Sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
She's got a dog whistle.
Anyway, pardon me? We don't have security at night.
No, we don't have security during the day.
Are your constables working during the night?
That makes no sense.
Did the cameras pick up anything?
So, ironically, the cameras, I have a call into GHD, the cameras were not working Sunday.
How about that? Just as I predicted, they don't work any day.
No, I looked, and they're working now, and they were working before. I don't know why they weren't working on Sunday.
Well,
So there's a day of rest.
They're supposed to be recording as well. I tried to reach out to, they're not our cameras, they're GHD actually. So, I haven't gotten a response from them yet. And 9/6 cameras are not working either.
right, but how about our security?
We don't have
Weren't we
security
supposed to have
cameras yet.
security? Oh, we don't have?
They're not up yet, no.
Oh,
They're part of the electrical contract,
Somebody stole the wires to our.
so.
Oh, I thought that was one thing discussed about before, was that we were gonna put them up before the end of the contract so that we had better security.
Yes, but for that, you need the electrical contractor to actually
You're not
put
at
in the
that,
wire.
you're not at that point.
What happened?
I don't know.
Steve?
Yes,
Okay, just checking.
You've got a public service announcement here.
So, I'd like to ask you a question. It seems an awful coincidence that the cameras weren't working then and that's, you think it might be an insider?
I don't know. I have not been able to speak
That's,
with
that's
anyone.
something for the police to know.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what they get paid.
Well, they keep asking me for the camera footage, the police do,
Of course they do.
so.
What happened to the dog?
I mean, they don't realize
Dog
how
is
much
fine,
money
guy.
that cable is.
We were actually afraid that he, could have been seriously injured because he ran through all of the excavation and behind, you know, through the
Somebody who knew
backyard.
where it was could get through there, no problem.
Yeah, somebody has been there, that's absolutely correct, and that's why I was thinking.
How many of our employees were involved in this apprehension?
Well, they didn't apprehend him, they just kind of ran into him and then he
Yeah,
ran.
no, but how many employees? Just one? Because I'd like to recommend that we do a letter of appreciation personnel file. You know, I mean, I think that'd be appropriate.
I think it was one, I better double check it was.
No, but I mean, for everybody that was involved.
Sure.
Right, I have no problem with that.
So I make that a form of motion.
Gold star.
Is it, you know, it should be signed by the chair pro tem of the board.
And maybe he made a motion, you seconded, any discussion on it? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried, 501. But maybe we don't have one person walking around anymore, since we don't have security during the nighttime, that at least you have two.
It's kind of dangerous for the guy walking around through construction. That's where, and I don't think we walk through the construction generally.
It's everywhere,
But the way the things are stocked, I know what you're saying.
it's everywhere. Okay, the last item is, regarding the monthly DEC meeting. We had that, today. And an update on the construction progress was given and the likelihood of meeting deadlines, that have been submitted to the DEC was discussed. Additionally, possible schedule impacts, including the repair of imperfections to CN Cell 2 wall, delays in the concrete utility corridor, which is causing delays in electrical and control work in the CN cells, and the concern about the expiration dates. I actually didn't know this. There's actually an expiration date on the media. The media is manufactured and needs to be submerged in water within a specific period of time, or else the media, it's no good.
The last I knew, it took about 1 month, or either you gotta do that or you gotta keep it damp in order for it not to dry up and break.
So that deadline is March 25th.
Are they gonna meet it?
They hope so. So that was a discussion with DEC, where they asked if that was going to have an impact on the dates that had been submitted to them. And the construction manager, not to be confused with the project manager, the construction manager said that he would not let that happen. And they asked how he would not let that happen, and he said he writes letters to them. I don't know what else you do, but maybe you can shed more light on that.
That's pretty much what you can do. We're also threatening them that if they don't meet that deadline, any claims we receive for delays from other contractors will go to them, not to the city.
How about our attorney bringing that?
He can't, I don't think he can, because
The
it's the
city's
city's contract,
It's the cities, right?
I've asked him to do that.
so, okay, good. So, yeah, the DEC wanted to know if the board were gonna sign that consent order. And I said that was going to be discussed, today, and hopefully a resolution would come to pass. And maybe at some point we can go into executive session to talk about that. They also discussed the stormwater, our notice of violation for the stormwater protection program, and said that a letter would be coming about that. They were going to discuss it with each individual party at that time.
They want to have a sit-down meeting.
Right, because there's actually the plant SWIP and then the construction SWIP, and they felt that there were two separate parties. I don't know if we're gonna get two separate letters, how that can be best.
So we're not gonna roll it into one, like originally
We
was
can't.
planned?
I don't believe so.
We can't.
We can't?
And then attached to my monthly summary is a summary of our parameters that we are testing, the main ones. Of course, we test many others, we do test many others. But these are the big ones that we're testing for right now to track the flow, our influent and effluent, CVOD, total suspended solid concentration, and soluble solids. And that's my report.
Anybody got any questions of Kathy? I just have one. Do we have, and I guess it could be to Ron, what happens with this media? Are we under contract that it's got to be made at a certain time and delivered here at a certain time? And then it's up to somebody, in case there are delays, what we're gonna do to protect it?
We're not, the PC is. It comes through their contract with the customer.
Okay,
So if they don't get it manufactured, if they're not ready on the 25th, because they have a manufactured date to have it be delivered to the site on the 25th.
okay,
If they don't meet that, Kester has another contract after that,
Kruger.
Kruger. And they'll be fulfilling that other contract and working at some other plant. So it will be weeks or a month or so before they can come back to us. We can't let that happen. And I don't know what we'll do without threatening them with everything that we can. They've gotta meet that deadline.
how much of a volume is it? Do you know?
I don't know, but it's
A
quite,
lot.
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All those cells.
I understand, I just thought maybe somebody might know how much, and was that gonna be conveyored in, truck lined
I
up,
think it's
blown in?
blown.
I think, yeah, I think
And,
it's-
and,
'Cause
that's where the hazard is with the electricity, static electricity.
right.
Because for some reason, well, on the other media, and I don't know whether this is the same as you couldn't let it take a blown and fall because it would break it up. So are you
But
just?
there was shale, this is styrofoam,
Okay, all right,
or polystyrene.
okay, all right.
Right. I think it's probably similar. There has to be a coating on the walls of the structures so that it's not
It has to be very,
abraded.
yeah, it has to be very smooth.
Okay, all right. All right, so that's not in our hands either.
Wish it were.
I do too. All right, so you're through, nobody else got a question of Kathy? Jason is here? Okay, Jason, you're up next.
Afternoon.
Oh,
Happy New Year.
You as well.
yeah.
In your folders in the back, you'll find the IWPP report for December.
Yeah, I do. Well, so Jason, could you hold a second, what, you have to go someplace?
I sit tomorrow in the hospital.
Okay, I'm sorry, what I wanted to do was turn around and, Al, he wanted to know if there was any type of an answer from the DEC on what the proposal was at one time with the DEC.
I thought we were going to
Yeah, I think
executive
we're
session.
gonna go into executive session.
You want, I don't, you don't
Well,
want
I
to
mean,
go.
I don't think there, okay, I wasn't,
Oh, here, you can tell me tomorrow.
all right,
I'll
okay,
tell you what's-
all right. Now, the one thing that I want to say, And I don't know who you do with the stairs out here that's Spalding, and you and I both agreed that that patch wasn't gonna work. Put somebody on notification and get it cleaned up, because right now it's a tripping hazard more
Okay,
than
I'll do it in the
anything.
morning.
Okay. Anybody else got anything of, Ron before he has to leave? Okay.
I did also ask PC, just as I was walking in, if they would put some gravel in your parking lot so that we don't have a problem.
It's a pretty steep drop from the driveway into the
Yeah.
parking lot.
That parking lot needs to have something in it so you don't have to.
Turn around and tell them to put, 1As down, okay? The 1As will bind right into the thing until the void and that stuff and.
1A is too small.
Okay.
1/8 is too small.
1A is too
They
small.
they actually,
It's filling in the stone right now. You're only putting a quarter of an inch down to keep it, a smooth surface.
they're digging up the.
Well, these are
outside the
expensive.
parking lot. That's it.
Compared to ones.
Yeah, but the 1As lock in a lot better. That's what we use for leveling beds for walls and that stuff.
You got the construction down. They had to start with.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you,
Thank you, George.
thank you. Appreciate it. I'm sorry, Jason, now you can go ahead. I'm very sorry for the interruption.
So I have the December 2018 tree treatment report. We have a number of clients' letters that went out, that's just kind of bookkeeping during the month, and then we had one NOV letter for BCC. We have had a couple of notice violations recently that that have been more than just kind of failure to report on time, just kind of the more common violation occurrence. We had that BCC number, which was for oil and grease. And then we also had Amitech, which was during our annual inspection, where we found them to be high on copper and lead. So,
Did they call you, because he left a message with me this morning, rattled about the results.
Amitech or the
Yeah.
consultant?
I think it was Amitech,
Okay.
saying that, just with a question about, how they had non-detected. Yeah, but he didn't call you.
No,
Okay.
no, but Adam, the engineer that works with me, has been dealing with a lot of face-to-face,
Okay.
point-to-point conversations with them, so
Okay,
they might have had a conversation I hadn't heard it yet.
okay.
But we are starting to use the fine structure as far as notifying users when they're having these issues, to know that that's a finable offense. So, those are starting to go through.
Yeah, I think that's gotten their attention, because I got a call from BCC as well.
Yeah.
It's achieving what they wanted it to.
That's definitely a user we need to get their attention, so that's good.
And it's funny because we have had issues just getting them to answer their survey.
Yeah.
When we're going to the permit renewal, we ask them to fill out the survey that you usually use for a new permittee.
Right.
Just so they can fill it out again, so we have it on record. I think it's been a
And
few
it's up
months,
to date.
just trying to get them, okay. So, we had that violation, and then I3, electronics, they had a lead violation. So, we're following up with them. Their permits, due for renewal too, and that's been out there for a little while, but the issue there was they had a date where they had zero flow reported, but yet they had a violation on a day with zero flow. So we're trying to make sure we understand how that's happening mechanically, so that we don't have an issue with the way the permit's set up and how they're reporting their data.
Is that possible?
It's not possible, but it's just the way they're doing some of their, they're using water meter readings, but if they have some kind of recycle or some kind of rinse go on and they sample during the rinse, supposedly the water meter reading doesn't necessarily go, but they'll have water rinse through the system or something, so.
Right, okay. I understand.
We're just trying to make sure we chase it down and keep an eye on it.
How bad of a level was it?
I think the flow was, all their flows are very low. It's less than 40 gallons a day, but the magnitude of the concentration exceedance was probably double the limit.
Double, man.
Lead's not very high, so it doesn't take a lot to go over the limit. That's kind of the big picture stuff as far as kind of new information or new news for the users. We're working on permit renewals. We've got a handful of them. I was shooting to get them out this month, so they're all kind of fresh here in January. And we got all our annual inspections done by the end of December. Because of the one violation, we will go out one more time to resample it Binghamton. But that's in general where we're at.
Do we have a digital copy of the used current permit? 23.
What was that?
Does somebody
We have a
have
digital
a
copy.
PDF copy of the used
Probably.
current permit?
Binghamton
Yeah, that
University?
somebody could send me. I'm getting stuff together for the audit, and I looked at, I need to have that handy. I don't think I have it currently.
That's one of the ones we have slated for renewals.
No, I know, but I need the
Oh,
current
no,
one.
just so you're aware. So if you see the dates expired, it's because we still need to issue that new one.
No, I know, but I need to be able to say this is what it was during 2018.
As an aside, I just,
Yeah, so,
You need it for BCC too?
if there's a permit for BCC, I haven't seen it, so, we probably, if there's significant, they're not like BU that pays us a fee, like a municipality.
Okay, all right.
So,
I understand.
that may or may not be as big a deal. But I'm happy to look at anything, so let's send me to the work email, please.
and then, the only other thing I was gonna mention again was the local limits item that we discussed two meetings ago. And the packet that I had sent along, so,
That didn't get passed out to board members, whatever you sent.
okay.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
it was sent to you because you
I
wanted
didn't
it.
get I didn't get it.
Jason sent it to you.
I sent it to you. So,
So,
Do you?
but, so whenever we get a chance to look at that, it's on my to-do list or on my action items list to follow up with that.
I'll send you a copy of what I sent Kathy a couple months ago, and you can take a look at that, and then maybe you can send me what you got, and I'll get it from somebody else in the meantime, so.
Okay. You want me to send it directly to Ed or?
Got it.
Okay. And I was gonna just share one last little note, which is that we were overdue for a EPA audit for pretreatment. And they had a change of the guard with their enforcement person retiring, not retiring, but they had relocated to a different department. So I think we're like a year and a half behind schedule or something as far as having an inspection. And an audit.
Is the EPA shut down as part of the federal shutdown right now?
I don't.
Okay.
But in theory.
Gotta put them even further back.
Yes, it's possible. But in theory, they will be coming back around to us either with one of their sub-consultants that they utilize for audits or with the new person that was put in that position. But as I understood it from the last conversation I had with Jack Rios, the person was not yet accredited to do this on their own. Whatever terminology is used by EPA for the person being able to do that on their own. So I think that's putting them behind as well. And that's in the context of the local limits item. I'm guessing
Right.
that's gonna be a point of conversation if it comes up.
Okay.
That's all I have, unless there's any other questions.
Have a safe trip back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
He's behind the fuzz.
Put the bird in. Head to your phone, Steve.
Okay,
Gotta be his.
Witness with
now we have to go to board committee reports. Steve, have you got anything to report down in
Nothing at this
Sunnyport?
time.
Not at this time, huh? Okay, the only thing that I wanted to go over again was the stairs out there that are flaking, that they claimed they had a a cure for it, and they did for about a week, and then it all spalled it up and broke up. So that's the only thing that I have on the construction report. Ed, you might as well get into your finance now.
Okay, a couple of things I wanted to discuss on finance. One, I've been working through on this insurance, the limits, and I went back, the last industrial appraisal update that we had was through June 30th of 2016, and then we made a decision not to update because of what was going on in the plant. And the grid that Trident Insurance Company put together doesn't adjust properly between what's building property and what's business personal property. I've also been, as I've been going through this, I took the producer price index from the federal government, new industrial building construction series for the, from July 1st of 2016 to June 30th of 2017, it was plus 1.34%. From July 1st of 2017 through June 30th of 2018, it was plus 5.13% inflation, picking up in the building. I mean, we've heard about concrete and steel costs and how they're going up. And so I'm trying to factor that in too, but unfortunately I just haven't had a chance to get it all up to date where I can say, here's a chart, and this is what I think our limit should be. But I think we're in a situation where, on a number of buildings, in my opinion, we're underinsured, and that could, and Al can explain this to us, that could trigger what's called co-insurance, where if there was a loss, we're not going to get 100 cents on the dollar on a claim. And I'm very concerned about that as a board member and certainly as a ratepayer, that, we ought to have the right.
What buildings are you referring to?
Just going through the list, the Scarborough building, the admin
Aren't
building.
they all like under construction? Aren't they under construction?
Right, but we don't get to describe our coverage.
So they're
They're
not
covered
under.
by the contract.
Yeah.
If we have beneficial use of a building, we have to cover it. But I mean, that's something we should work on.
They haven't been turned over to
No.
the city,
No.
to us yet.
No, I understand all that, but there's a number of buildings that,
That's why I'm asking, because I don't know what building.
but the buildings that are on Trident's list that Charlie gave me, are buildings that are in that category too. Okay, I think I copied on the email, maybe didn't. And those values that are there, which ostensibly are what they're writing the policy for as of January 1st, have value on the contents that is really permanently installed machinery, equipment, fixtures, power feed mains, process piping that should be part of the building. It should be underwritten as part of the building because it's built in, and not personal property like desks, tables, filing cabinets, movable things within a building, which are underwritten at a different rate, which is usually higher than the building property. So, Kathy, your point's very well taken, and where I'm getting to with this is that when I get this grid done, I'm going to send it out, and I think we ought to schedule a finance committee meeting and open anybody on the board who wants to be there, and work through this and get straightened out what we're going to cover and what we're not going to cover. And for example, sludge digester tank number 2 is on this list, and I know that the contractor has control of that, right?
And all the piping. I think it's a worthy endeavor. I just don't know that we're at a point where we can do that, because I think it's just about every piece of property is under the contractor's
Right, but
control.
what we might conclude from that meeting is that we should take certain things off the policy until the owners come back to us with a certificate of occupancy and the new, bill of materials for what's in the renovated structure. That's what I'm saying. But right now I'm concerned that number one, things that we're covering by Trident, the insurance company, and they're not an appraisal company. All they're doing is writing insurance.
You know, stuff that they have on here, the value isn't up with the times. Which I'm concerned creates a co-insurance situation that Al can advise us on if anybody wants to get into that.
So they don't write up anything yet that says full replacement?
But to qualify for that full replacement, you have to have it scheduled at a value that's within a certain percentage of the actual value. I think it's 90% perhaps.
I thought it was 80.
Could be 80, yeah,
Okay.
under the policy. So, but, you know, it'd be important, you know, I'm raising that because it's an important thing.
Well, no, I agree with you, but I also agree that when we get the occupancy certificate, that's when we deal with it, because they're all gonna come online at a different time.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't make sense that we be covering, this property, if,
As far as deduction, I agree with you, okay?
but I mean, that's why we, you know, we can't do this in a board meeting. I mean, I know that,
Right.
but I want to raise the issue so people are aware of it. And then, you know, the approach that I'm suggesting that we do, we set up a meeting,
Right.
and it'd be a long meeting. You know, I mean, it could be like half a day, I don't know, you know, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do it in 2-3 hours, I don't know. But, you know, it'd be finance committee that takes the lead on this with Charlie, and,
Do
Do
you
you know
need
what
to,
buildings we have occupancy in? You know, we used to, yeah.
What about this one?
Yeah, this is the only one I ever get.
well, I
into.
mean, I think you know, it's good for you for the background, so you know where we are and where we might be
But
headed.
you would need somebody,
He's just trying to get out of it.
Well,
you need somebody from the production to tell you, this is the building, this is what we have it insured for. You either have to pick up the difference or the contents. I don't know who would know that.
And I think you should look into a couple things. Agreed value, which would eliminate the co-insurance clause in the contract, as well as a blanket amount between the building and the business personal property. When you have that meeting, I think it's something that you.
Well, that's, you know, I mean, I understand
It's
what you're
just something you
saying.
should look into.
That's
all.
not the coverage we have. You know, we'd have to go out for an RFP if we were gonna do something like that.
Or you could just change it within what you have now.
You know, I'm not sure we wanna do that without going for an RFP so we get competitive pricing in the market. But I don't think we're at the point where we wanna do that because of what's going on here, the value's gonna change, you know, the project moves and, things get turned over to us. I'm also concerned, adjacent to this, but somewhat related, is that, and I'm sorry that Chuck Robinson had to go, because the city keeps track for accounting purposes of a so-called fixed asset list. And, you know, it needs values, new values of certain, you know, equipment or whatever, which I don't know that the contractors or the construction manager or the engineer, anybody, is under contract to the city of Binghamton to supply those kind of values to the comptroller's office for this fixed asset matrix. And, you know, I don't know that it's this board's obligation to provide that to the city, since the city's the lead agency. I would think it needs to do that, but it ought to be doing it. There ought to be some coordination with the insurance coverage, because it's a similar task in terms of establishing value. So, you know, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there too, that that's kind of a related thing. So, if anybody has anything else on that, now's the time. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to my next topic, which is in the area of the FEMA. I reached out to Howard Weaver yesterday on a few things, and he confirmed, yes, the federal government shutdown does affect FEMA in that any funds that haven't already been set aside for project worksheets, you know, there's a hold on FEMA's ability to make new set-asides during the shutdown, however long it lasts. And he pointed out that he, before the shutdown hit, had already submitted for extensions, which he did through the state, which is the protocol that goes through the state Division of Homeland Security Emergency Services, for the following project worksheets that expired on 12/31/2018. SCADA 1, primary power distribution, the flood wall, and the primary treatment and solids. You know, which are all, you know, so he has those in the middle, we're covered on that. There haven't been any new progress payments from either the federal government or the state government since October of this year. I asked him about, there's a condition where there's over $500,000 that the state of New York owes us, where the federal government's already paid their share on some project worksheets, and I asked him about, you know, should we be reaching out to somebody, having the mayors or legislative bodies, you know, do a joint letter or whatever. He's gonna look into that as far as what he would recommend. Which I know he doesn't like us to rock the boat, but you know, $500,000 of ratepayer money is significant. And so we need to have that money from the state of New York that's holding it back, where the federal government's already approved the 75% payment and made that payment to us, and the state's 25% matching share hasn't been received. And some of these go back quite a while. He says he's working on the TPS closeout. He's still working with the state on the numbers. He expects during January to be finalizing his compilation for the BAF. That's a $3.6 million obligated PW that we've already received about 1.8 million, and he's going to be working on the final progress payment on that. And he just verified he's got everything that he needs from the board and the city on his part. Just to give you an overview, for the active project worksheets, and please understand, this is not the total FEMA loss from the 2011 flood, but this is just the ones that are active at the present time. The small projects, emergency response projects that were right after the flood that have been closed out, you know, a few years ago, aren't in this chart. This is only the active project worksheets. There's 38,390,385.11 obligated, you know, by FEMA and DHES. Through Simmons, we've submitted 24,891,582.68 in net submittals. And this is through the end of the year. That's why I'm doing it in January. It's kind of an update for the end of the year. We've received through the end of the year 22,810,905.91, and there's 2,080,000 still out there. 903,638.26 is the state. 1,177,038.51 is the federal government. A lot of that money is in progress payments on the flood wall, which are pending because they were submitted. One was submitted August 1st of 2018. The most recent one, October 30th of 2018, and you know, they're in processing. And out of the money that we have received, 864,743.68 is money that we're reimbursed, that is direct administrative cost monies, mostly to pay bills from Simmons Recovery. 1,361,324.42 is money that came back to the board for costs that the board incurred. A lot of that has to do with the TPS, where certain contracts were through the board and certain work was done by plant employees, the digester complex, and the primary treatment of solids. $11,280,490.60 went back to the city of Binghamton on the capital project. $9,304,346.26 went back to the village of Johnson City for their share of the capital project. The total going back to the owners is $20,584,836.86. So that's a thumbnail sketch of kind of year-end 2018. None of these numbers include the $2.4 million that the board received as insurance proceeds after the 2011 flood. if anybody has any questions on that or anything like that, let me know. I work with Howard primarily through my city job in providing him the documentation from the city on the payments to the various contractors that he uses to do it. So that's what's going on in finance, new budget year, obviously, we have the budget. The city hasn't put a PDF copy of the budget up online yet in the city website, but I do have a copy. You probably have a copy, Charlie, also out of Munis. You know, at the point the city puts out, it's much cleaner when they put their PDF up than the copy I have will look like a scanned copy of the printout. So that's where we're on finance.
How about flow?
On flow management,
Nothing to report at this time. No.
well, yeah, there was something I was going to report, but I don't remember what it was. All right. So we'll be for that for next week. But I mean, Charlie will be working on the full credit bank statements that are due by the end of the month, and then we'll ratify them at the February meeting. There probably hasn't been much activity. That's normal maintenance. That's my report on that too.
Ad hoc committee.
Hello. Hello. I have nothing new to report at this particular time.
Steve, on personnel, do you have anything that you want to bring?
Nothing at this time. I would just like to say thanks to Ed for preparing that thumbnail sketch of FEMA money.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. He also has this PDF on his computer, because I didn't know if we'd have a video link, you know, like going in and out, and I thought I better send it to you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, there's a special note here. Please hand in 2018 committee reports forms to Michelle.
I'm almost done.
I handed mine in today.
Who's late?
Come on, guys, let's get with it. The sooner we get them in, the sooner we get our money.
I would like a list of the people who are not in yet.
Mine's on in, Steve, I'll tell you that. I should have it in by the end of the week.
Thank you.
I have to double check with George, to make sure I got them all, since he doesn't hand in papers.
I don't. I verbally tell Michelle.
However it's done.
You
Right?
don't even give you a note?
No,
No.
Oh, if you miss a few, don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry. Okay, correspondence, you got the DEC on the IP report. You got the NISTEC payment receipts, stipulated penalties. You got the progress payment charts. Is there any old business?
Yes. This is on the GHD Consulting Services Work Order 9, which was originally and you have a set of papers in your folders with the legislation on the budget transfers we did last month that the City Council and Village Board approved last month. This was originally a city contract, but the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation will not advance money to the city or the village because the scope of this work order is a TPS improvement study, which Kathy sent us a copy of this afternoon. Thank you very much. The current one, which I think is the final one, or I know. And to get GHD paid, you know, we were asked to make this budget transfer and modification, which we did last month. But now, you know, to get the invoices paid, GHD's work order doesn't have any insurance in favor of the board, and they're not going to rewrite their contract at this point because their contract was written back in 2017 for this work when they started doing the work. And so the suggestion is that from the newly created budget line that has $35,000 on it, that we as the board approve transfer and payment over of $33,392.72 from that budget line to the city of Binghamton as lead agency so it can pay these bills because it was the contracting party. This would be just like what we did with the digester mixing equipment so that, you know, the work product belongs to the city, we'll get a copy of it and have the benefit of it, but you know, the city was responsible for overseeing this work, not the board. You know, which I think is why on the prior item, the digester mixing equipment, you know, we went the same route where we took money from our capital budget and paid it to the city and then they're using it. In that case, because the work hasn't been done yet, but in this case, the work is apparently already done. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve a payment over to the city of Binghamton in the amount of $33,392.72 from the TPS. I'm not sure exactly what that line is called, but you know, it's for the TPS engineering study line that we just had created through the legislation that's attached to this charge.
Second.
Thank you.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried, 501.
Kelly,
Anything,
can you do a claim on that and get on the
anybody got any old business? Kathy, I'm gonna bring this up under old business, and this is something you texted me today on the JC Terminal Pump Station.
That was this.
That was
Well,
just
we
that.
just talked about that.
Yes.
Right, well, I know, but the elevations and that stuff,
Okay.
anything more on it, or what? It was just a typo, is what you're telling me,
That's
That's
not,
what-
I mean,
that's
I'm
what
not
John
telling
Lordy
you,
said
that's
in
what
his
John
email.
Lordy is saying.
Alright, no other old business, anything on new business?
Yes.
So, the thickener upgrade is about ready to start, and as you know, we had to emergency replace one of our thickener drives just over 2 years ago. The drive has just run out of warranty recently, it still has plenty of value. And I've talked to PC Construction, they're gonna remove it, and I asked them if we could retain the salvage. So I'd like the board to please declare it scrap, so I can get some value for it.
Do you have, interest from any?
I haven't heard back
mentioned-
from them, I called them to see if they wanted to buy it back.
Okay,
The only other place I had spoken with was SUNY Morrisville. Their plant had a Claire adjuster that was due for an upgrade that fell through. I reached out to them, they seemed interested in rehashing.
Okay, roughly, do we have to pay PC for removal?
They are obligated to remove it.
Oh, well, that's
right.
what I wanted.
And they said they're more than happy to set it wherever I'd like.
Okay, do you have any idea what you think it's, worth?
Never sold a used thickener drive.
Okay,
We can just declare it a surplus and the details on selling can come up later.
It's not coming out until middle of January, so I just want to get ahead. So that-
Wow.
So that I'm
yeah,
not.
today's the 8th, you know.
Well, I was told it was gonna be the middle of January, so it could be February, March.
Well, okay.
But I don't wanna shop something that I
That's
don't
on
know.
PC's
I don't wanna
metric.
sell something that I don't have the permission to sell. So
Well,
I'm trying to stay ahead.
I don't disagree.
Old copper or wire.
Insurance.
Some of the stuff gets reused, some of the conduit gets reused.
Some of it, so we have the right to ask for any of the material. But if we don't ask for it, then they turn it in for scrap, so
They turn.
the contractor
The
does, yeah.
contract allows them to do that.
So I've asked, and they've been very clear that they understand my request.
Yeah, we keep putting it in the meeting minutes, because it didn't happen on the last piece of equipment that we asked for.
Correct, we've asked to retain grinders that did not
Get
get
retained.
retained, so been more than clear on that.
So I guess I'm a little confused. You're asking for permission to, for the
Sell it.
board to make it scrap. I mean, why don't you just turn around and store it where you want to store it when it comes that time, and then go up the prices and come back?
We want to sell it, but he doesn't want to tell people.
I really don't want to store it.
Yeah, we don't want to tell
Storage
people
issues
that
are-
we have something to sell if we don't have something to sell. And the first thing,
So-
selling it is declaring it surplus. So we just like the board to declare it surplus.
I
So
make
then
a
you can
motion
sell it.
I'd make a motion to declare the Ovivo, thickener apparatus and thickener number 2 as surplus and authorize the superintendent, facility engineer, or their designee to pursue obtaining offers or bids to purchase the same.
I'll second that after you make it thicker 3.
Thickener 3?
Thickener 3.
What did I say?
And no, this she's wrong, isn't it? It's thickener 2, isn't it?
No, it's 3.
All right, amend the
Sorry.
motion. Thanks. Amend the motion to be thickener.
Oh, technicality. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried, 501.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. It's the one that
We didn't
The way they're
take
numbered
it.
here.
That's good, I know it. Very good. Thanks, Howard. Okay, now I guess, need a motion to go into executive session?
I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss administrative litigation.
Second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. I didn't hear you, Steve.
He said,
Oh, did he? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I heard it this way.
501, all right, make sure that everything's turned off.